It's not as easy as just getting a product, taking a picture. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alicia. If you're new here, I am also new to YouTube, so if you'd like to, go ahead and subscribe below. But today I want to talk about a few things that I have been thinking about lately because it's coming up on probably about 5 years of me being an influencer, and I'm just sort of like reevaluating everything and my whole influencer journey, if you can say that. So I want to sit down and talk to you guys about a few things I've learned within the 5 years of being an influencer and some things I wish I had known before I had started. A little bit about me before I dive into all this stuff. Like I said, I began doing stuff as an influencer about 5 years ago, and that was sort of the turning point in social media when people or brands started realizing that they can use influencers as part of their advertising. So I started a really unique time where everything was rising. I will be discussing many different things about the reality of being an influencer, from the whole process of working with brands, different platforms you can be on to pitch to brands, engagement groups, all that fun stuff. So if there's anything that you want to specifically hear about, I will put a timestamp on the video, so then that way you can go ahead and fast forward to that certain part. We're going to begin by talking about the whole process of working with brands, because it's not as easy as just getting a product, taking a picture, posting it on Instagram. It's a whole process that probably takes about a month or even longer sometimes. So it begins with the initial contact between myself and the brand. So normally a brand will reach out to me and I will read the email, see what product they want me to promote on my Instagram, and then I will do some research if I do not know the company, so that way I can make sure that this brand is trustworthy and reliable, so I'm not just promoting a product on my social media that I do not know much of. After the initial email, I'm then sent a creative brief if I am interested in the partnership. So in the creative brief, it goes over what type of imagery the brand would like, the do's and don'ts, which some brands have very specific requirements as to what they want in their pictures and also what they want in their caption. After reviewing the creative brief, it then goes into the whole contract phase. And that is when you pitch to the brand your rate, which is very interesting. And I didn't have like a set rate until recently, because I would just kind of like throw out numbers and see what worked when I was negotiating, but sort of realized having a flat rate just makes your life a whole lot easier, because it definitely is a weird process having to put value to yourself and to your content. And there's no specific number. Like some influencers will charge $1,000 for one Instagram post, whereas some other people only charge $100. So your rate is yours. It's what you're comfortable with, and it's really depending on how much income you want to make off of your brand and being an influencer. So normally the grace period between you receiving the product and me submitting the content is relatively long enough to give you enough time to come up with a whole photo concept, get a photographer if you need to, and make some tweaks and edits to them. However, I have been part of campaigns where the turnaround is so fast, and for me, being a blogger and influencer, that's not my full-time job. I also work a part-time job, and I also have my own personal life. So sometimes if it's like within days, the turnaround, I'm very stressed. After you submit the content, there is the possibility that the brand can come back and they do not approve of your content, meaning you'll have to reshoot everything. I have not had that happen to me so far. However, there is always a possibility a brand can come back with feedback and say, we don't want this, we sort of want this concept as opposed to your idea, etc. Once your content is approved, then you can go on Instagram and post your picture. So that is the very long process of shooting content for brands. That being said, my second point is about shooting the content itself, because that is a whole nother process. So when it comes to shooting content, say for a brand, you have specific requirements, and it could be that they don't want your photography to be inside, they want it to be outside. I've had brands request that. After taking all the information, then I had to pick out my outfits, do my hair and my makeup, because I do wear makeup in most of my stylized pictures for brands, even though I don't wear makeup on an everyday basis. And then you have to figure out who is going to shoot your content. I am very, very fortunate and lucky that my boyfriend, Chris, is a photographer, so we already have all of our photography equipment available to us, and he is very gracious enough to shoot my pictures. If you do not have a photographer, you may need to hire one yourself, or you can take your own pictures, which I also started doing. I use a tripod, or I use a makeshift tripod, which Chris makes fun of me for because there's just a bunch of whole shoe boxes, but there are ways around saving money and not having a photographer, because they can be very, very expensive. So after then having a photographer, you have to figure out where are you going to shoot. So lucky enough, I live in Philadelphia, so there are plenty of different places for me to shoot. However, I live in South Philly, and if anyone has visited South Philly or they live here, you know that South Philly is a very specific look to it that doesn't really match my whole brand. So if I want to shoot local, then I need to scout locations, and that takes time. So after having the whole picture idea, so the concept, picking out my outfit, doing my hair and my makeup, having my photographer come with me to this location, we can finally then shoot content. That is how I go about shooting content. It's a very long process. It seems like it would be fast, but it's pretty long, and a lot of thought goes into pictures, and it's really not as easy as just, like I said, receiving a product, taking a picture, and then posting on Instagram. There's a lot that goes into it. So now that you've listened to me ramble on about the process of working with brands and the reality of shooting content, I want to move on to how you can work with brands and how you can partner with them. Because when I started, I had absolutely no clue. Brands, I don't know why, started reaching out to me via email, and that is how I started collaborating with brands. But about a year and a half ago, a company had reached out to me, and they told me that I needed to apply for the campaign on this specific platform. Now, platform is called Coley, and I had no clue what it was all about. I applied to the campaign, and in my head, I was like, oh, this is just a way that a brand can stay more organized in the whole process, because sometimes in emails, it can be a whole chain of 25 emails, and it gets confusing. Sometimes emails get lost, etc. So I did this campaign on Coley, and I just kind of let it go. I didn't think much of it. Then I happened to hop back on, and I began to explore the website, and I quickly realized it's a platform for content creators where you can apply to campaigns. So basically what happens is a brand will post about a specific campaign going on, and then creators can apply to the campaign. So in this listing, they'll have the creative brief, specific content that they're looking for. After reviewing all that, you can put in an application. So you basically just leave them a little message as to why you want to be part of this campaign, and then in a few days, the brand will get back to you, and you'll see whether you are accepted or not. And the really cool thing about Coley in particular is that they have the flat rate of pay. So some campaigns are non-paid, and it'll just say product, as in your payment is product. And then other campaigns will have product plus payment. And when you scroll down, you can see a lot of companies will have like a range. So say you have 10,000 to 20,000 followers. They will pay you $150 for one Instagram post. So that is one outlet and one platform you can look at to partner with brands. But the one thing about the platform is that you have to be accepted. So you have to go through a whole application process with Coley in order to be accepted to use the website. There are other platforms like Aspire IQ, I believe it's called. That one I'm also on because I find that they have more brands on their website and there's more paid collaborations. And the difference between Coley and Aspire IQ is that on Aspire IQ, you can put out your own rate. And sometimes it'll tell you like this brand has a rate max of 300 or whatever. And then that's how you know what rate it's going to be, but you can pitch to them your own particular rate and then they will negotiate as compared to Coley where there's not much of negotiation with your prices. I use both Coley and Aspire IQ to find new brands to partner with. I use it for most of my collaborations, to be completely honest, because I find that it's more consistent. The platforms will constantly refresh new campaigns. They'll send you weekly emails as to what brands are now looking for collaborations and what campaigns you can apply to. So I just find this is one way they can constantly pitch to brands and have the potential of having partnerships as compared to just waiting for companies to reach out to you. The third thing I want to talk about are engagement groups. So you may not be familiar with them, but they are a way influencers can gain engagement on their posts. And these groups became extremely popular when Instagram began to change the whole algorithm of, I don't say like Instagram hates influencers, but I will say I've noticed a lot of my engagement has decreased lately, and I think that is that's in some relation to me being an influencer and me making money off of Instagram. So, engagement groups. I was introduced to them my freshman year of college, which was almost 4 years ago. And I one day received like a random DM from a girl I followed on Instagram that she was putting together an engagement group on Instagram and she wanted to know if I wanted to join. So the whole core of these groups is that there's a group of creators, Instagram people, whatever, who will go and like each other's photos, and you can also comment in some groups. Some groups require like, comment, share, or like, comment, save. It's just a way that influencers try to keep up their engagement rates because Instagram sort of works against us, if that makes sense. I am going to be completely honest. I am part of engagement groups on the app called Telegram, and that seems to be like the most popular way you can join engagement groups for Instagram. That is one way that I try to keep everything consistent with my likes and comments, just because, I mean, Chris has even said, I think it was like yesterday, my picture like never came up on his feed, and it's like, I don't know, I just find that I'm not popping up on feeds very much, so engagement groups is a really good way to hopefully increase your engagement so that way you end up on Discover feed more often and fellow influencers and brands can see you. So I'm going to be honest here. I did feel, and part of me still does, feel fake for being part of these engagement groups, because there are some people in groups that I'm like, I wouldn't really like this person's photo had I not been part of this group, and I'm supposed to like their picture. I definitely struggle with that. However, I've come to realize that many people use it. I know people in my area who are big influencers, and I had come across them years ago because I was in a group with them, and now they have a whole bunch of followers. So it does work, but you just definitely have to be careful on those groups and not be part of groups that your content doesn't vibe with and it's not similar, because then it's gonna be weird. Another thing about engagement groups is that they are also international, so sometimes you'll be in a group with people from Germany and they comment in German, which is gonna look weird, and people can tell automatically that this is not natural for you. So just be mindful. Now that Hugo has decided to join me, I'm lastly going to talk about media kits because I have come to realize they're very helpful, especially when negotiating rates with brands. So I created my media kit on Canva, the best thing in the entire universe, Canva, and I use it basically as a way to A, display content that I'm very proud of, and to show past collaborations. It's also a way for me to show analytics and statistics with my social media and my blog, and it's also a way for me to have my rate card. So my rate card shows my rates for an Instagram post, a blog post, and Instagram stories, because now you can make money off of Instagram stories, which I never thought would be a thing, but it now makes sense because pretty much any social media you can make money off of. So I have those particular rates as part of my media kit, and oftentimes if a brand reaches out to me, even before finding out if it's a paid partnership, I will just send through my media kit so that they can see my previous work, brands I've partnered with, and then also my rate card. I find this is very helpful, like I said, when negotiating with brands. And I mean, I used to intern at a PR agency where someone once sent us our rate card and I was very impressed with it. I was like, maybe I'll start doing that. So I highly recommend creating a media kit. I'm sure you can find templates on Pinterest or even Canva. Some on the internet probably has templates, but I created mine on Canva and it's very easy to do. The whole moral of this video is that being an influencer is not as easy as it used to be. Instagram is so oversaturated with influencers. It's insane. When I first started, I didn't really even know what an influencer was. I didn't have brands really reaching out to me. It was something I was doing for fun because I was blogging, and so I would then post a picture on Instagram of a product I was loving and then link that to my blog. So now it's a whole different universe. It's so different. It can get discouraging because of the algorithm and how it's constantly changing. I once heard that now you have to have X amount of shares and saves in order to make it on the Discover feed for people, and that to me is so weird. I don't know. It's very weird, and it definitely is discouraging at times because there's times when I receive barely any likes on a picture and I'm like, okay, well, I've been doing this for 5 years and I made it this far. You just have to keep creating good content and engaging with other content creators who are similar to you. Join an engagement group because I highly recommend them. My account did grow once I started using engagement groups. I definitely recommend using Coley or Aspire IQ and trying to get on those platforms because that to me is just the easiest way to work with brands. I hope you guys found this video helpful. I will probably create more videos on behind the scenes of being an influencer and all that fun stuff. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Also click subscribe, and I will see you guys next video.